This is A Place to Yap, where big feelings meet even bigger opinions. I'm your girl Taj, and this podcast is where your truth has power, your feelings have room, and your growth has space to breathe. Our stories deserve to be told. We are no longer asking for permission to heal or to speak our truth out loud. Here, you are safe, valued, needed, and most importantly, you are heard. Welcome to A Place to Yap. I feel like I have quite a few episodes on talking about projections. I want to talk about how to stay authentic in a world where it's obsessed with controlling the narrative. Everything is curated. Everything on social media is curated. It's specific. When you're posting, you're choosing the best photos. You may put a filter. You may edit before you even post. You choose the best poses. You choose the best pictures. You only show your highlight reel in your life. Sometimes you can tend to look at other people's highlight reel and you might pull a little bit of this and a little bit of that from their thing, and you start to lose yourself in this world of curation. And I feel like it's important to talk about what authenticity is, what it means, and why it's important to be yourself and to stay yourself no matter what the world throws at you. Because if you're easily led, you're easily led astray. You're easily led any which way. Anybody can tell you anything and you're just going to go for it because you don't have a moral compass. You don't have good principles. So we're going to talk about staying true to yourself. Staying true to yourself in a culture where perception is curated and authenticity feels risky. You feel like you can't be yourself because people are not going to like you. You are moved or swayed by what everybody else thinks and not by what you like or what you think or how you move or how you were raised or your morals, your principles. You're going off of what everybody else feels like you should be, or you're going off of what you see. If that's not what you really want to do, why are you doing it? This week's affirmation: my truth is enough. I don't have to edit who I am to be seen, heard, or loved. The difference between authenticity and oversharing is when you're authentic, you connect with people by using your truth. Not what you think people want to hear, but your truth, your story. Not some story that you made up because you want to fit in, because you want to relate. If they don't understand because they haven't been through it, it's okay. You can still tell your story. You can still be yourself. You don't have to overextend yourself so that you get attention, recognition, or some type of extra empathy and compassion because you're trying to hard your. Authentic people don't just put things out without being mindful about what they're putting out. They fact check. Like, in a sense, with me in this podcast, I Google things, I make notes. At the end of the day, I'm just speaking my truth and I'm telling my story. I'm being myself. At times I may stutter, at times I may repeat the same things over and over, which is the good thing about being able to edit before I post, because I can listen back to myself and be like, oh, that was a good point. I need to be breathing and understanding. I don't have to rush everything out. I can take my time. That's me being myself. That's me being authentic to what I know is true about me, versus feeling like I gotta just put everything out and just say whatever to be validated. I need to be seen. I need to be heard. I need to be number one. No, I'm just telling my story. Even if nobody listens to this podcast, even if on nobody's radar, that's okay. I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm doing this for my kids. This is for my legacy. At the end of the day, this is my story. No one can tell my story but me. I don't want anyone else to be able to tell my legacy about my life. Obviously, people are going to have rebuttals. People are not going to always agree. But this is my story. This is my truth. This is me stepping into my authenticity. Whatever I leave on this earth for my children to listen, to be able to hear my voice, to be able to know what I experience, that's what I'm doing it for. I've had this podcast on my phone since 2022. These new recent episodes are new, but I started recording in 2022. I had a whole different podcast name. I had a whole different trajectory of where my podcast was going to go. I had like a whole season already pre-recorded and everything, and my iPad got broken. So I had to start completely over. I was supposed to put this podcast out, but I just didn't do it. When I was talking to my husband about it, he was like, maybe that was just stuff that wasn't meant to be heard, and you got it all out already. So now you can focus on what your purpose is supposed to be and what you can be talking about that's going to impact people in a different way. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I definitely can do this. I just kept pushing. I kept putting it on there. But what stopped me from putting it out in 2022 was I was trying to over curate. I was like, oh, but it doesn't sound like this. It needs to be like this. It needs to be production. It needs to be a set. I can't record and I can't have video and I can't. I was trying so hard to be like everybody else and like Kiki Palmer and all these other people that I watch their podcasts that I love. But these are personalities that have been way more established than I have. And I'm trying to look at their blueprint and trying to fit it into mine and just like have it be like a whole show. Used to love like Wendy Williams, Ricky Lake, all these shows. I wanted it to be a show. At the end of the day, is that really me? Is that what I'm supposed to be doing here? Is that the impact that I'm supposed to have? I still want it to be show style, but I still want it to be me. It's important that I stay authentic to myself in a world that tries to show and influence you from a young age that it needs to be curated. I reflected on that. I'm building trust within myself to know at the end of the day, you can take some elements from these things and use it as a guide, but it doesn't have to be you. You make it your own and you have to own it and build it your way and say, well, I was inspired by this person. But you don't have to aspire to be that person. You just remain being yourself. The internet and family and things that we've been exposed to as kids teach us that we have to be performative. Because you want to impress people. You want to get the good job. You want to get the applause. So I feel like even as kids, we were performing for our parents. We were performing for other people and, to get the hype up. Like, go Taj, go Taj. Like, we were doing that. We were performing. Oftentimes, because we perform for so long, emotionally, you're looking for that constant validation. You're looking for that constant, I'm proud of you, or you're trying to fit into what you think that people see you as. Versus standing in your own truth. If I trip and fall and I laugh, it's okay. If other people feel like, that was real corny, who cares? Everybody's human. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Everyone's not going to fit exactly what you feel like they're supposed to, but that doesn't make them any less valuable. That doesn't make them any less themselves. No, I'm just embracing it. I'm embracing that I'm clumsy. I'm embracing that I'm awkward. I'm embracing that I'm going through a season of change. I'm embracing that I'm going through a season of building up my confidence, my self-worth, my value. I'm not letting the world or the internet determine how I'm supposed to be. I'm not going to let them control my narrative. I'm not going to let them make me feel like I have to be constantly curated and over-curated because I have to fit into this box that they see me in. I'm going to be myself. And if that means that I have to constantly be in a season of isolation where it's just me, my laptop, my kids, my husband, and we're just doing our own thing, that's okay. I'm fine with that. It's been like that off and on for me for years. So I thrive in isolation. I cannot talk to people. I cannot leave the house. I cannot deal with people's energy. Like, I can just be in my bubble and be cool with that. I'm happy with that. I don't have to force myself to be on anyone, or I don't have to dim myself to be around people, because once people see you in person and feel you in person, then it's a whole different thing versus just talking on the phone or just texting or just talking on a podcast. It's different. They see that you're a real person. But I feel like social media, family, and trauma can make us be versions of ourselves that we were forced into. Like, is it really us? Are we really that? Or like me? A lot of my personality comes from trauma, comes from survival, comes from constantly being hyper vigilant so that I can survive every single day and not allow the weight of the world to take me out. And that's a lot of pressure, especially as a kid. That is a lot of pressure. So trying to remain authentic in trauma is difficult because you honestly have to wear a mask in order to survive. You have to pretend like you're happy to get through the day. And it's like you're always performing, you're always acting, you're always trying to be your best self. Even in school, you're trying to act like everything's fine when it's not fine at home. That's a lot of pressure. I'm literally unraveling those layers now because I'm tired of performing. I want to be myself, no matter what that is. If I wake up and I guess they would call it manic, and I want to fucking go to the store in a suit and a fur and go grocery shopping, why not? Why not? Like, I've constantly shaved my hair, constantly dyed it one color, then 2 days later dyed it back another color. Like, why not? Why not? Who am I trying to impress other than myself? I'm tired of faking the funk. I'm tired of faking the peace in relationships and friendships. I'm tired of filtering myself. I don't want to be around you if I have to constantly filter myself and I cannot be who I am. I swear, I cuss. At the end of the day, I'm passionate about things. I'm passionate about growth. I'm passionate about truth. I'm passionate about being myself. I'm passionate about you being your best self. So don't come to me with some bullshit and you're talking to me about the same thing over and over and over again. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it to you real, raw, and unfiltered. But people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear the truth. People don't want to hear how they're the ones doing this or they're the ones doing that. Don't bring it to me. I don't want to just be your emotional dumping ground. Where are we trying to grow from here? What are we really trying to do here? Or are you just calling me with your problems that you don't even really want to solve, but I'm the problem solver? So then you're going to get frustrated with me when I'm trying to help you solve your problem, and I'm not going to give you a pity party. I'm calling you on the pattern that I see. I want you to do the same thing for me so that I can grow. That is the point, so that we can grow together. It's emotionally burning me out when you're just like, I don't understand why I'm in this situation, or I don't understand why I'm in that situation. I'm like, well, I can tell you why. This is what you're doing to cause you to be in this type of situation. Why do you keep doing that? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. You're not going to get anything different if you keep doing the same things. Even for me being on weight loss medication shows me that I was clearly overeating. I was not taking care of myself. I'm an emotional eater. I use food to cope with everything. Whether I'm happy, sad, mad, I eat. And that is something that I have to work on. That's me recognizing a pattern within myself, and it's probably been happening since childhood when, it was one of those things where I was raised in a household, you eat everything on your plate. You can't leave the table until you eat everything. It was stuff that I hated that I was made to eat, like peas and meatloaf and sloppy joes and all these different type of things. It's always been a texture thing for me. So when you're growing up in a household on survival and poverty, you're taught that you can't even touch your juice until you eat all of your food. It's things that I recognize being in a weight loss journey that I'm trying to force myself to eat, and I couldn't. And then my husband's like, babe, you don't have to eat that. It's okay if you're full. Nobody's forcing you to finish your plate. It was a moment of shock because I was like, oh my God, I'm literally practicing childhood trauma in this moment. In my face, I'm trying to force myself to eat a full burger that I only can eat half of, sometimes even a quarter. Wow. I can drink my juice while I'm eating my food. I don't have to wait until I finish it all. It's stuff that's ingrained in me that I still practice, but I only with myself. I don't do that with my children. I do not make them eat all of their food. If I have to make a couple of different options, I'm going to make a couple of different options. Like, I'm that parent. And it used to burn me out in the past. And I used to have people criticize me for doing that. Like, oh, no, I don't do that at my house. Well, I do that at mine. My kids have options. They're human beings. They're individuals. And they don't all eat the same things. And it's okay. I don't want them to feel forced to eat certain things that they don't want to eat just because everyone else feels like they should because of them being raised however they were raised. Because I know how I was raised and I know how it affected me. I don't want them to go through that. And I'm sure they're not going to be unscathed from trauma because I'm healing myself in the process of raising them. But I'm trying to do better every single day. I feel even that is a part of my authenticity. I recognize patterns within myself as a child that I don't want to repeat. So I'm showing up for my children better than I was shown up for as a kid. You have to show up for yourself even when it's not a trend, even when it's not a hashtag, even when it's not a popular post. You got to still show up for yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, even when you're unsure and in your healing journey. Like, I was honest that I needed to make a change. I was honest that I wasn't going to repeat a cycle. I was honest that the fact that I was still operating in the childhood trauma of finishing my food even though I was full, and giving my children other options to eat food because they're kids. I realized, like, from my oldest to my oldest was like my youngest. He didn't eat a lot of the things that I ate, like onions and certain vegetables. But now that he's getting older, his palate is evolving and he's starting to eat those things. It comes with growth and time. My youngest is very picky. And I know when he probably gets older, he's probably going to open up his palate and his taste buds are going to change and he's going to eat more stuff. But right now, he's a kid. So I'm going to let him be. If he wants eggs for dinner, he's getting eggs for dinner. He's still getting food. He's still getting nutrition. And at the end of the day, he's a child. Yes, I'm going to make suggestions and try to say, hey, well, why don't we eat a little bit more of this, or we do eat a little bit more of that. But if he doesn't want it, I'm not going to force him to do it, and not controlling certain things that they do. At the end of the day, it's like they're living their lives. I want them to not feel like they cannot be themselves. No, you're gonna eat this. They might try it and they might not like it. That's okay. Well, my mom says that I don't like it, so I'm gonna force myself to eat it because she said no, if they try it and they don't like it, it's okay. Also understanding being shamed for not liking certain things just because people feel like you're supposed to. It's a part of feeling like you have to constantly be a curated version of yourself. Instead of people accepting that you don't like that, you're being shamed for not liking something that someone else likes. And then here goes the mask again, and here goes the people pleasing again, and here goes, oh, I'm trying to impress this person, or I'm trying to fit in with this person, so now I have to adjust with how they feel I'm supposed to. But that's not me walking or speaking in my truth. That's me feeling like I have to control how I'm showing up in front of that person. I've adapted through survival that I have to keep being this curated version of myself. That wasn't me being authentic. When I was in another space and time where I didn't like eating the egg salad, I was shamed for that. Not only shamed for that, but made to feel like the lowest of the low because these people let me into their home and they let me stay there. How dare I bite the hand that feeds me because I don't want to eat that. I felt so bad and I felt so guilty. I was in such a vulnerable place because I felt like I didn't have anywhere to go. My back was against the wall. I made myself eat and I felt like I was going to throw up. Tied back into me being in a very emotionally abusive relationship where I felt like I had to impress this person and do what they said because this is what they suggested and they love and they care for me, right? So this is what I'm supposed to do. No, I was being a fraction of myself to please and impress that person, and I was being broken down, molded, and groomed to be this type of person that wasn't truly authentically myself. As I got older, I started to lose people and I started to gain more peace and understanding. This person is not good for me. God has constantly put me in situations where I was forced to make a choice, forced to make a decision. Like, this is what you want to do? You still not learning your lesson. You still staying in places way too long. You are overstaying your welcome. It's time to move. I was literally forced out. I was hurt, but I gained so much peace, knowledge, and understanding after the fact. I had the experience and then I had the time to reflect to say, you know what, that didn't feel good and I don't want to put myself in that situation again. When am I going to learn my lesson? Me learning my lesson is creating safety within myself to know like I can trust myself. I don't need outside validation to show that my decisions that I'm making are correct. I can trust my moral compass, my principles, my core values to say, this doesn't feel good. I don't like this. I don't want to put myself in this type of situation. I can trust me. If I can put all this trust on someone else, I should be able to put that same trust within myself. I can also trust that I can sense when someone else's energy and when someone else's intentions are not aligned. When someone else's intentions are not right. Even if I'm scared, even if I'm worried, I feel like I might be making a mistake. In order for me to learn and grow, I have to make a mistake. And I have to learn from it. And if I don't, the lesson is going to keep being retaught until I learn. I don't want to just be in a space where I'm just being applauded for my external appearance or for the mask that I'm wearing. I want to be in a space where people truly see me for who I am. Beyond the makeup, beyond the outfits, beyond social media, beyond the filters, beyond the edits, beyond the curated version of me, to see the core of who I am, what I like, what makes me happy, what makes me genuinely laugh from the pit of my stomach, what foods I like, what music I like to listen to, the adventurous side of me, the side of me that likes to go hiking, the side of me that wants to get to the top of a mountain and look at a waterfall, the side of me that wants to get to the top of a mountain and yell to the top of my lungs and just let it all go, the type of me that wants to go to a picnic, the type of me that wants to ride a horse, the type of me that wants to have a farm and have chickens and grow vegetables and have a garden and be able to go into my garden and have a nice ranch style home, 2-story with a yard and a land, and just be able to sit in my backyard on a spring day or in the fall and watch the rain, have some tea, read a book, just exhaling. Always a student, always wanting to learn, always dreaming. I'm a dreamer, imagining, using my imagination. thinking about living in other worlds, other countries, other states, and how I could flourish and how I could grow and how I could meet people. Starting my life over 57,000 times, knowing that I'll come on top every time because of the type of person that I am, because of the core of who I am. I am a survivor. I'm not just surviving. I'm in a season of embracing that I have survived. I don't have to live in that anymore. I have power. I have the power to be myself and show up as myself and be real with myself, because being real with myself is being real with others. Sometimes I don't even want to talk. I just want to sit in silence and daydream. That's me spending time with myself. I have all of these dreams and affirmations because it's what I want to do, not what other people feel like I should do. If that lines up with others, amazing, because we can experience it together. I'm grateful that I'm no longer in a space where feeling like I'm forced to have to be a certain way. I just want to show up as Taj, the girl who was from Rifle Street Projects, that has went through so much in her life, but I'm inspiring others to know that it doesn't stop here. You are allowed to start over as many times as you need to start over so that you can be the person that you love, not the person that everyone else loves, but the person that you love. I don't care what other people say. That's your authentic self. It's not me forcing myself to do something because I feel like it's a lucrative and a financial gain and then saying, yeah, I'm going to just make myself do it anyway. No. I seen Deontay Kyle talk about somebody asking him, what could you do for free? Like if you were not getting paid for doing something. And he said, I would talk. And that resonated with me so much because I'm like, I talk all the time, especially when I'm comfortable. I can talk for hours about a topic. Hours, and gain so much insight. I'm learning about you. You're learning about me. I remember having a conversation and someone was like, oh, you're actually very intelligent. Why would you think I'm not? Whatever gave you that impression? That was ignorant as fuck to even say, for you to just assume that I wasn't. You're not even giving me a chance because people have consolidated me down to just my looks. That's what I've noticed. Oh, you're smart and pretty? Or really in reverse, you're pretty and smart? Wow, I thought pretty girls were dumb. Why would you think that? The power of authenticity. It's the power of being true to your core. If you don't know what that is, do research to figure out, how do I find what makes me me? What are the questions that I can ask myself? How to remain authentic in this world that makes you feel like everything has to be edited and curated before it even gets put out for it to be accepted by the masses. Ask yourself those questions and truly answer them honestly and sit with yourself. You'll grow. You will. You will take that time to reflect, listen to yourself, and show up as her every single day, whether people like it or not. This week's Yap Back Prompt is, when was the last time you edited yourself to make someone else more comfortable? What would it look like if you didn't? Send me a DM, comment, or a voice note so we can discuss. I just want to take this time to encourage you guys to take up space. You're not too much. You're not too loud. You're not too deep. You're just in a world that edits everything and turns truth into trends. If it's not trendy, people don't want to hear about it. People feel like it's bullshit. It's your truth. You are allowed to step into that, and you are allowed to be yourself. If you're somebody like me that talks and talks for hours upon hours and gives all these different analogies and advice and things because you want people to show up as their highest self, that is okay. If people are constantly trying to make you feel like you're not supposed to speak your truth, if you're not supposed to speak up in a room full of people, if you're not supposed to show up this way or that way, those are not your people. Those are people that's trying to put you in a box so that they can feel comfortable and put you in the back of the closet. Showing up as yourself doesn't take away from someone else show up as their self. Check yourself, look in the mirror and say, what's wrong with you? Because it's not something wrong with that person, it's something wrong with you. Something that you're not dealing with within yourself to make that person feel like they got to play small to make you feel comfortable about yourself. Check that. If this episode resonated with you in any way, girl, leave me a review and let me know what you like and what you didn't like and what I can improve on so we can continue this conversation. Remember that authenticity, the true definition of authenticity, is being true to yourself, your values, thoughts, emotions, and boundaries, regardless of the pressure of feeling like you got to be someone else. Here's your example. You're struggling in your relationship and you choose to share that healing is hard work, but you protect the private details and speak from a place of growth, not just pain. Because your goal is not to have someone else carry your emotional baggage. Your goal is to speak from a place of going through it, giving somebody the story, how you overcame it, your final result, and what you learned from it, so that they can take what's for them and leave the rest. It's not their responsibility or job to take on your shit. You just gotta do the work and recognize your why. What is the reason why I'm doing the work? What am I ultimately trying to gain from doing the work? You're trying to be your highest self, your evolved self, yourself that walks in her light, her authenticity, and her truth. Thank you for spending time with me today. Remember, only those who benefit from your silence don't want you to tell your story. Take what's for you and leave the rest. You don't have to hold it all. Always show up for yourself. Life may try to push you down, but you will rise because you are powerful beyond measure. You matter. Your voice matters. Until next time, keep feeling, yapping, growing, and most importantly, keep going. This has been your safe space, a place to yap.